Modern technologies of diagnosis and treatment of living cells. Part 2. Fundamental principles of bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic disorders of living cells. Abstract. The disorders of cells are based on 5 fundamental principles. 1. The bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalance of chromosomes. 2. The bioelectric imbalance of cell walls. 3. The bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalance of cellular channels. 4. The bioelectromagnetic imbalance of cellular poles. 5. Weakness of cellular battery and disruption in energy distribution in the cell. Keywords: imbalance, bioelectric, bioelectromagnetic. Introduction. Scientists and researchers have always been looking for the main causes and roots of disorders in the living organisms and the corresponding diseases. When a new theory is proposed, newer ideas will reject or complete it. The theorization world is almost limitless. Many theories have been only put forward and forgotten. Other theories have been put to the test in research in laboratories. They have been either rejected at this stage or have been used as practical and clinical applications. Human beings have achieved unbelievable progress in all fields of science in the past 100 years. Great achievements have been made in the medical and treatment fields, in particular in the diagnostic and therapeutic tools, and also in pharmaceutical drugs. Despite all these great successes, the main weakness of medical science in the past century has been the lack of fundamental methods for treatment of diseases. We wouldn't be exaggerating if we claim lack of fundamental methods for treating diseases in the past century. Treatment by medication and surgical techniques are still as old as history itself, and they are the fundamental methods of treatment in our era. Even though the number of modern diseases is increasing day by day, and our inability to treat, control, and even diagnose them becomes more evident every day. The number of diseases that cannot be diagnosed is on the rise, and the inabilities of doctors and medical communities become more evident day by day. For example, American leaders promised in the 1960s that cancerous diseases would be treated by the early 1970s. But after half a century, cancers are treated by the same radiotherapy and chemotherapy methods applied half a century ago, and it continues without any full guarantees. This article offers researchers a modern and novel aspect of main causes of cellular disorders. It helps understand the main roots of living organisms' diseases. Definitely, when we learn about the main factors of diseases, we can create new and modern treatment methods. Key point: when chromosomes and genes of living organism cells have been identified, a spark of hope was kindled within mankind. A great theory came into existence, saying all cellular activities are derived from genes and consequently all disorders are originated from genes. Since the very beginning of this great discovery, thousands of scientists and specialists throughout the world have been trying to find the main causes of cellular disorders in the genes. Every day, news of the new discoveries by research centers are heard, making patients more hopeful. But most of this research does not find clinical application. In 2008, the head of the United States' $1.5 billion Cancer Genome Project announced that the changes in the genes of cancerous cells lack a meaningful model, and most of the changes are made in chromosomes. Today, with permission of God, I want to reveal a great fact. The genetic transfer is not the cause of a disease, but a disease causes the genetic transfer. The subtle point is that many of these genetic shifts in a patient's cells are the work of automatic cellular control system management that helps cure the disease. To clarify, the genetic shifts not only are not harmful, but also are beneficial in many cases and prevent the development of diseases and control more damages. The great fact is clearly seen in genetically manipulated cells. Automatic cellular control system does its best to recover the manipulated cells back to their old conditions. It either succeeds in healthy recovery or it orders the cells to self-destruction. Once again, it is necessary to repeat this great fact. Diseases are not caused by genetic shifts, but genetic shifts are caused by diseases. Considering the important fact, a big question arises. What is the main factor behind diseases? To better understand the answer to this question, please pay attention to the following explanation. All objects in the universe vibrate when temperature is above absolute zero, and even at absolute zero in some cases. For example, every atom of the non-living solids vibrates 10 to the power 13 times per second in normal temperature. All living organisms and their organs vibrate non-stop. All of these vibrations carry energy and have impacts on their surrounding environment. When they return to their main sources of production after colliding with many environmental factors, they affect their source of vibration as a secondary effect. This process continues without interruption in the universe. The effects of these vibrations cause the disarray of the structural balance of the objects and gradually make them old. Thus, the objects in our universe experience exhaustion and destruction. The key point is that no creature can survive in this world that is filled with exhausting vibrations unless it is able to adapt with its surrounding environment in a very short time. Humans' living cells adapt themselves with their surroundings in 1/27 trillionth of a second, making it possible to live in this exhausting world. The continuous effect of exhausting vibrations and cellular adaptations results in an endless battle for all living organisms. These vibrations gradually affect all living beings with their exhausting factors. The battle continues and helps exhaust and destroy the living beings. This is the main cause of cellular disorders and creates bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalance, steering the cells of the living beings towards disorders and diseases. In general, the imbalances can emerge as follows. 1. Bioelectromagnetic and bioelectric imbalance of chromosomes. As mentioned before, two sets of 23 chromosome human cells should be a complete pair. It means the volumes and amounts of bioelectromagnetic and bioelectric fields should be completely equal, and their cellular polarities should be completely opposite. It was also explained that automatic cellular control system always creates and maintains balance. If the continuous effects of internal and external unbalancing factors are more than the cellular deterrence thresholds, it leads to imbalance. The chromosomal imbalance usually takes place in the following forms. A. Positive bioelectric potential difference. In this form of inequity, if chromosome A1 has plus 5 mV electric charge, chromosome B1 will have less than minus 5 mV. B. Negative bioelectric potential difference. In this form of inequity, if chromosome A1 has plus 5 mV electric charge, chromosome B1 will have more than minus 5 mV. C. Positive bioelectromagnetic potential difference. In this form of inequity, if chromosome A1 has plus 5 nanogauss electromagnetic charge, chromosome B1 will have less than minus 5 nanogauss. D. Negative bioelectromagnetic potential difference. In this form of inequity, if chromosome A1 has plus 5 nanogauss electromagnetic charge, chromosome B1 will have more than minus 5 nanogauss. E. Reverse bioelectric potential difference. In this form of inequity, which is rare, the bioelectric charge of chromosome A1 that should be plus 5 mV is reversed and changes to minus 5 mV. Also, the bioelectric charge of chromosome B1 that should be minus 5 mV is reversed and changes to plus 5 mV. F. Reverse bioelectromagnetic potential difference. In this form of inequity, which is rare, the bioelectromagnetic charge of chromosome A1 that should be plus 5 nanogauss is reversed and changes to minus 5 nanogauss. Also, the bioelectromagnetic charge of chromosome B1 that should be minus 5 nanogauss is reversed and changes to plus 5 nanogauss. Bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalance of chromosomes may be individual or combined. In the individual form, there may be an imbalance in all chromosomes. For instance, all of 23 pairs of chromosomes may have one type of positive bioelectric imbalance. In the combined form, Each of the chromosomes may have one type of imbalance. For example, group 1 of chromosome may have positive bioelectric imbalance, group 2 may have a negative one. The third set may have positive bioelectromagnetic imbalance, and group 4 may have negative bioelectromagnetic imbalance. Note: reversed bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic potential differences are very severe inequities and usually activates the death signal and opposite cellular suicide. If the cell does not commit suicide during the moving and reversing of the potential difference, it will be damaged by severe bioelectromagnetic disarrays and it will be out of control of the living being's central control system. Therefore, it turns to a disobedient cell and causes many dangerous and fatal diseases. It seems bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalances of chromosomes cause at least 20% of very complicated and severe diseases. The severest and most lethal of these diseases caused by such types of imbalances are cancers, which will be explained in detail in the cancer's bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic fundamental principles. 2. Bioelectric inequity of cell walls. As it has been already described, cells and organs are separated from their surrounding environment by exterior walls. The walls usually have two layers. The inner cover of the layers has potential difference with their outer cover. If the potential difference of internal and external layers while resting is completely equal in terms of volume and rate, and is completely opposite in terms of their poles, the balance is created. If the potential difference of each of internal and external layers is not equal in terms of volume and amount, and their polarities are not precise, a type of bioelectric imbalance of cell walls takes place. The inequity appears in the following general forms. A. Negative bioelectric inequity. In this form of inequity, if the external cover has plus 60 mV bioelectric charge, the internal cover will have more than minus 60 mV. B. Positive bioelectric inequity. In this form of inequity, if the external cover has plus 60 mV bioelectric charge, the internal cover will have less than minus 60 mV. C. Reverse bioelectric potential difference. In this form of inequity, the external cover that should have positive bioelectric charge has negative charge, and vice versa, the internal cover that should be negative will become positive. 3. Bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic imbalances of cell channels. The main channels of a cell and the channels of all the cellular internal organelles have two main sections, internal and external. Each section acts in two bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic ways. The accurate and perfect performance of the channels requires bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic balance of internal and external sections at the time of rest. Automatic cellular control system always creates balance and maintains it. If cellular internal and external unbalancing factors exceed the capacity of cellular balance factors, the imbalance of cellular channels is created. The inequity may emerge in the following general forms. A. Positive bioelectric inequity. B. Negative bioelectric inequity. C. Reverse bioelectric inequity. D. Positive bioelectromagnetic inequity. E. Negative bioelectromagnetic inequity. F. Reverse bioelectromagnetic inequity. The features of the mentioned inequities are similar to those of imbalances of chromosomes and cell walls that have been described in the previous two parts. Note 1. The imbalances of the cell walls and the cellular channels have mutual impacts on each other in many cases, because the foundation of the channels is located on the cell walls, but they may also experience the reverse inequity situation. Note 2. Cell walls and cellular channels may have a mixture of all kinds of imbalances. It seems the inequities of cell walls and cellular channels cause nearly 50% of diseases. The series of diseases that are caused by insufficient or excessive elements that the organs of a living being need include disorders of hormones, enzymes, vitamins, proteins, and others that are produced by the cellular imbalances. Up till now, the main and successful practice of classical medicine has been employed in these diseases. Classical medicine cures these diseases completely or relatively by identifying the disorders and by using direct or indirect drug treatments. Complete treatment. If the classical treatment reduces or removes the pressure of internal and external factors causing inequity in the cell walls and cellular channels, the automatic control system gets rid of the pressure and immediately repairs and rebuilds the cell walls and cellular channels. In this case, the disease is completely cured. Relative treatment. If classical treatment only targets disorders caused by such imbalances with the help of pharmaceutical methods, the disease or its symptoms will be controlled, but the completed and permanent treatment is not achieved. In such cases, the disease control is possible through continuous external treatment, and the disease and its symptoms reappear when treatment stops. 4. Bioelectromagnetic imbalance of cellular poles. It was mentioned before that the bioelectromagnetic field of cellular poles should be completely equal in terms of volume and amount, and completely opposite in terms of polarity in order to create a perfect balance in this section. If the effect of internal and external inequity factors is more than the cell's balance capacity, the bioelectromagnetic imbalance in the cellular poles will be gradually created. Different kinds of such inequities are as follows. A. Positive bioelectromagnetic inequity. In this form of inequity, if the north pole of the cell has a minus 10 nanogauss charge, the south pole will have more than plus 10 nanogauss. B. Negative bioelectromagnetic inequity. In this form of inequity, if the north pole of the cell has a minus 10 nanogauss charge, the south pole will have less than plus 10 nanogauss. C. Reverse bioelectromagnetic inequity. In this form of inequity, the north pole that should have negative charge has positive charge, and the south pole that should have positive charge will become negative. D. Negative asymmetric bioelectromagnetic inequity. In this form of inequity, the two ends of the cell have similar polarity, that is, the north pole. E. Positive asymmetric bioelectromagnetic inequity. In this form of inequity, the two ends of the cell have similar polarity, that is, the south pole. Note, the whole cellular pole's inequity can be derived from pole's inequity of each of cellular internal organs. It seems the cellular pole's inequities cause nearly 20% of relatively severe and modern diseases that include brain and nerve diseases, as well as hardening of the arteries, which will be explained in the bioelectric fundamental principles of hardening of the arteries. 5. Weakness of cellular battery and disruption of energy distribution in the cell. Cell battery or energy production centers play a key role in cellular activities. The weakness of cellular batteries also plays a key role in general disorders of the cell. The previous parts explained that the cellular battery weakness is the main cause of cellular aging process. Now, another reason behind the cellular battery weakness is explained. One of the main features of the energy-storing molecules is their bioelectromagnetic infusion quality. This property has advantages and disadvantages. One of its advantages is receiving energy. It has been described before. One of the main disadvantages of the property is that if it is exposed to the bioelectromagnetic absorption factors of human bioelectricity, it will lose energy. For example, if it is put near another living being that suffers from severe energy deficiency, it will lose energy. The closer the length and shape of wave of cellular frequencies of the two living beings, the easier the energy transfers. It seems the non-living energy discharging factors play a role in draining the energy of human cells. The more these factors are integrated with natural bioelectromagnetic system of cellular energy centers, the more the energy will be exchanged. All of us have experienced the storage and release of energy in our lives. In some places and with some people, we feel quite energetic and more brisk, and under specific conditions, an opposite case occurs. Energy distribution disorders appear regularly as follows. A. Disorders of relations. In these cases, the molecules receiving and giving energy fail to establish partial or complete relations. B. Disarrays in transmission. In these cases, the energy production center fails to transfer the energy partially or completely after establishing relations. C. Disruptions in reception. In these cases, energy reception centers lose the ability to getting energy partially or completely after establishing relations. It seems the main reason of the above-mentioned disorders is bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic inequities of anode and cathode sections of the receptor and donor molecules. The weakness of cellular battery and energy distribution disruptions in the cell not only play fundamental roles in cellular aging, but also play the leading role in 5% of the living being's diseases. Conclusion. The general bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic structures of living being cells can be described as follows. 1. Perfect balance. If there is a perfect balance in all of the sections and the cellular battery enjoys its full ability, the living being's cellular foundation also enjoys the perfect balance. In that case, the cell will have 100% efficiency and no disorder is seen in its performance. If perfect balances are created and preserved, the conditions will be as follows. Perfect health, full productivity of all living beings' organs, end of aging process, end of death. It is almost impossible to have perfect cellular balance in the world we're living in, because there are numerous external and internal unbalancing factors that affect our cells in incredibly short periods permanently. But if we live under conditions that there are no cellular inequity and exhaustion factors, the ruling cellular fundamental principles will prepare the ground for perfect balance. 2. Permitted imbalance. If inequity is at a level that does not damage or destroy the cell or its organelles, and its effects are within the cells, a permitted imbalance is generated. In such cases, the automatic cellular control system completely eases the cellular pressure and trouble, and no disorder is seen in the cell's normal activities. The permitted imbalance causes the following conditions: perfect health, full productivity of all living beings' organs, and start of the aging process. 3. Repairable imbalance. If the inequity inflicts a repairable damage on a cell, a repairable imbalance is created. In these cases, the control system automatically repairs the cellular damages and heals its scars to prepare the cell for its normal activities. Repairable imbalance creates the following conditions: relatively perfect health, relative full productivity of all living beings' organs, preliminary disorder of some sections of cells and recovery, and the start of the aging process. 4. Unpermitted imbalance. If the inequity is so inordinate that the automatic cellular control system cannot correct it in the preliminary stage, and the inequity prepares the ground for damages to the cell, the unpermitted imbalance will be created. In this stage, the arrangements for cellular damages are made, but they stop in the preliminary stage and remain at the same level. However, they do not cause any disorder in the cell's main performance. The unpermitted imbalance creates the following conditions: relatively healthy cells, relative full productivity of all living beings' organs, preliminary cellular disorder and its survival, and acceleration in the aging process. 5. Irreparable imbalance. If the inequity inflicts damages on the cell that cannot be repaired by the automatic cellular control system, the irreparable imbalance is created. In this stage, cellular damages are created sectionally and locally, but the automatic cellular control system prevents it from developing. The result of this stage is relative health, relative full productivity of all living beings' organs, local and sectional disorder of the cell's performance, hidden diseases, preparation of the ground for visible diseases, and acceleration in the aging process. 6. Chronic imbalance. If the inequity develops the local and sectional cellular damages and causes the hidden and visible diseases, the chronic imbalance will be created. In this stage, the automatic cellular control system cannot fully prevent the damage's growth. Consequently, the hidden diseases will develop gradually and the clinical signals of the visible diseases will appear. This stage creates relative disorder of the organs of the living being, but it does its activities continuously. The outcome of this stage is imperfect health, imperfect productivity of the organs, disruption of the organ's functions, development of hidden diseases, emergence of clinical signals of the visible diseases, double acceleration in the aging process. 7. Destructive imbalance. If inequity causes great and destructive damages to a group of cells, the destructive imbalance will be created. In this stage, the direct or intermediary activities of the organs suffer from relative or complete disruptions, and the automatic cellular control system cannot repair or rebuild the damages or at least prevent the destruction. The destructive imbalance causes serious diseases. If the disease's development is not prevented or cured by drugs, the patient may be pushed to the next stage, that is the deadly imbalance. The outcome of this stage is continuous and growing disruption of the functions of the cells and organelles, serious diseases, incomplete productivity of the organs need in treatment programs, rapid acceleration in the aging process and cellular death. 8. Deadly imbalance. If reverse inequity is created in the cell and the cell's bioelectromagnetic contact with the living being's command center fails, the deadly imbalance is created. In this stage, the cellular sets die or become uncontrollable and form roaming and disobedient groups. The place the inequities occur suffers from disorder and paralyzes the activities of the organs. The outcome is death of unbalanced cells, relative or complete malfunction of the organs, relative or complete disruption of productivity of the living being, ineffectiveness of medical treatments, and the untimely death of the patient. If the cellular imbalance is created, the general vibration of the body suffers from disorders. If the vibration difference between the right half of the body and the left one is 3 to 10 million Hz, it causes minor to migraine headaches. If the total frequency of the body decreases to 58 million Hz, the person catches a cold. If the total frequency of the body decreases to 55 million Hz, the viral diseases start to develop. If the total frequency of the body decreases to 42 million Hz, cancer begins to develop.